Thank you everybody for joining. I know that it is a busy time and we really appreciate you took your time to join us on this first episode of the Trellix webinars for partners, technical ones. And let me just remind you that actually, as I said, it's a series. So we are having 6 episodes coming every 2 weeks starting from now. So every second Thursday from now at 11, we will be holding one additional episode on those topics that you can see on the slide. And we will also remind you about each one separately, so you don't forget and register, because you cannot yet register, I think, for all of them. So expect a bit more spam from us shortly about those series. And there will be, it's planned a grand finale event at the end, but more about more information about this at the next days or week, because this is planned at the end. So I think we can start with the first episode about mastering Trellix endpoint security solution. And Damian, the floor is yours. Oh, sorry, just one more thing. Of course, if you have any questions, we have the Q&A session opened. And feel free to type the questions. We'll see with us are also besides Damian, that will be our engineer that we're hosting this webinar, also Dejan, our other engineer, and Mihai, engineer from Trellix. So they will try to answer your questions maybe as we go, or if you have some more complicated question that we would like to discuss, feel free to raise your hand and we will give an option to talk and we can discuss it. But we will not open this by default, because it is a nice number of people you hear and it will be too loud otherwise. Otherwise, Damian, the floor is yours.
So thank you, David. Also a nice warm welcome from my side. I think most of you that present on the call today already know me. My name is Damian. I'm a security engineer here in Real Security. So today's topic is about and will be about endpoint security. We just jump on the first slide. So what is actually the endpoint security? It's a very broad topic, so to say, but today the focus of the talk will mostly be the Trellix with the endpoint and EDR. But as you can see on this slide, Trellix actually encompasses with it endpoint security solution a lot of the products. So here we can start with the most basic, so to say, the malware protection. And then there is a big topic. So I know some of you are coming from the M side of products, some of you are coming from the F side of products. And it was quite a hot topic to say from some time. And actually, we as a whole didn't know what will be actually, what will stay, what will go when the merger was made. But so today, as some of you already know, the both products are staying. We will show that in the demo, and finally both of them are actually now connected. There is no more use to use the double agent. There is one single agent that will encompass all the functionality actually from the M side of the EDR and from the F side of the EDR. Also, what is available in the products is device control, mostly used for the legacy systems. We can have application control also used in the similar manner. And what's important, what we'll see actually in the first part of the demo is Trellix ePolicy Orchestrator. Those of you are coming from the M side of products, I'm sure already familiar with it. And there also encryption, data loss prevention. We will not talk about it today. Mihai will have a separate session about that. And last but not least, the Trellix mobile security, which also will not be the focus of today's webinar. So if we can just look what stages are basically going to the attack encompass. First thing we need to do is to actually successfully manage our environment, which can be quite difficult. But with the tool like the Trellix EPO, which is the chosen platform and will stay as the management platform from now on, this is relatively easy to achieve. I will show that in the demo. We, of course, need to then protect our assets, our environment. This is also on quite a few levels that the product is capable of protecting us, and also to, during the attack, detect everything that is actually needs to detect. So nothing gets through. We will try to maximize with our solutions, of course, to do the best they could do and to see how we can actually tune them correctly. Also, it's important to investigate why was that the case, what did the incidents happen, and then to actually respond to it accordingly, maybe to tune some of the things so the future events will not happen again like this. This is a similar slide actually. So what can you do first before? It's important to manage actually, and with Trellix EPO, you can manage that on scale. The solution can be fully on-prem, so you have management on-prem, or it can be in the cloud. You can choose each option. Also, from in this time, the environments are actually very broad. There is a lot of different type of devices, different type of OSs. So different types of functions, so to say. So we have our desktops, we of course have our server and other devices. So it's important that actually we encompass all those devices and protect them from a single pane of glass, so to say. And actually, so it's good so we can be proactive. That I will show with the product insights. How can we protect better? So how can we actually get ahead of the attackers? Also, it's always a problem. We are actually hammering this on and on with the people at the company. With the knowledge, it's hard to actually get good engineers. So it's important that we give them and the vendor gives them as much support as they can get. So it's important that we then focus to those high fidelity alerts, because if we just want to go through all the alerts, we can quickly get lost in the noise, and it's not a good thing. So we can miss something important. Right? So also I will show about the AI guided investigations that are included in the Trellix EDR, and also it's important that we can actually minimize the impact. So we can actually do with now that is HX is also part of the SKU, we can actually do a forensic, do a root cause analysis, so we can understand better what happened and how to respond accordingly. So just here is the slide that will show. This is actually maybe not so new SKU, but it's the newest, the TRX SKU. So these are actually the products that it will encompass. Guys coming from the M side, I think most of this will be familiar to you. So actually we had endpoint security as the first. Then there is EDR part on the side of M products. Also now added are the forensic coming from the F side. There is a threat intelligence done in a little bit of a different way. I will show this, what we can do with this platform. Also, there is one important piece that is a threat intelligence exchange, which actually focuses about reputation and what is found in our environment. And we can also have application and device control, and everything can be managed, as I stated before, from the on-prem management EPO, or we can use the SaaS version. I will show both of them today, and what the differences are minimal. It's in the back end working, but how you use them, it's actually quite similar. And this is also the SKUs, those you coming from the actual sales side, well, I think will be familiar with those SKUs. So we will today focus mostly about those two, so TRXC and TRSHX. The only difference is that the TRXC will have that cloud TDR part, and if you want to go fully on-prem so that you don't have that part and just use the forensics and EDR on the on-prem side, you can then go with the TRHX SKU. So with this, we can cater a lot of the customers if they, because we know how is this region, it's mostly on-prem, cloud is being adopted quite slowly. So here we have a real flexible solution now that actually we can just encompass all the clients if they want to go hybrid, if they want to go on-prem, or if they want to go down the cloud route, all actually is possible. Also, what I need to mention here is the Trellix Wise. I will show it today in the context of EDR. So what are the use cases? We can actually search and query the console in our local, let's say local language, or in our natural language. We do not have to use the query language anymore. We can do the threat hunting. It also helps us to accelerate investigations, give us some points. We will show how to actually do an investigation, where can Trellix Wise assist us, and also to do a search with Trellix Wise instead of the query language. So it can provide us with a dossier mode. So if we have an accident, we need to give some report to some individual that is running the company, some CEO or something like that, it's quite easier. So it will just write a document for us that will have all the points that needs to be conveyed to someone. This can then just be sent by an email or shame in some other way, and they will get the document immediately. So it's also interactive mode. We will see also that how can you actually give some prompts, and he himself will actually give you what are the suggestions, and you can then show them what you need more information. You need to look at this perspective, that perspective, and also it can do a knowledge graph. I will also show this. So how can you then see visually what actually happened? And now some of the lexicon of terms used. So that thing that we will focus on today webinar is actually the merger of the Trellix EDR and the HX agent. It's now called Trellix EDR with forensics. X agent, for those that are coming from the F side, will be familiar. Actually, it was called that on the F side of the products. Now it's being replaced actually with the Trellix agent, and all the functionality is being brought there. So EDR client, this was if you're going to the M side of the products, you will have with the EDR client installed, and also all those that are coming from the M side are also already familiar with the Trellix agent. This will now stay and be the only agent that actually will be used for managing the products. So this is a communication between the EPO, also the DXL fabric, so that we can send the traces and things like that to the TIE. We can send it to the EDR cloud, and also this can be deployed, as stated before, with the on-prem version of the EPO or the EPO SaaS, which is a cloud version. So now everything that encompasses those EDR with forensics, it's called X client. This is actually the new products. Those that are familiar already with the EPO and how to use it, you know that you first deploy the client, and then you can deploy the package. It's like that. It stays like this, but it encompasses actually two products. X console is actually, I will show this how this looks. It's an evolving platform, and if you're going actually with the cloud version, you will have all those products inside it. It's just a matter of clicking the different icon, and you can access different consoles. And as mentioned before, the TRXE is the new SKU, which actually combines the MV6 and HX offerings. So basically, you get products from the M side or the F side regarding the endpoint under the same roof. So we will now jump to the demo. So I will show you. We will start first with the EPO. A lot of you, I know, that are familiar with the M side have already seen this, but I also must assume there are some of you that are coming from the F side. So this is going to be the new platform. This is how it looks when you actually enter it. Maybe worth mentioning this, how I will just go to some of the key components, and then we will talk about how we can how we can actually see those different systems, see those different applications inside it. So this is, I think, the first pain, the first point when some analyst or some user of the platform will want to see. We can quickly see our threat overview, we can see our compliance overview, and we can see our devices. So this is a high-level overview of what's happening in our environment. I did some testing in the last days, so we can see that we have some resolved threats. This is all completely clickable. It's showing for the past 7 days. So maybe if I just show how actually this works, just click on it and we will immediately get what happened. So what was the originating process, which was the analyzer, what was the action taken, what was the threat. So we can immediately know from a high level what is going on, what is the trend with our detections. Did we have some resolved threat? Did we have some unresolved threat? As we can see, we didn't have any. Or maybe did we have some report-only detections? What are report-only detections? So if we are trying to calibrate our environment or do some testing and we are not sure if something is malicious or is not, maybe it's best to do something in observe mode. We will see that with some of the components of the endpoint security and see what actual results we're getting. So are we blocking something that we shouldn't? And maybe when we use it for a week or two, maybe we can then put it into real mode so we won't block any unnecessary things. To the right of that, there is a compliance overview. Here we can get a high-level overview actually what is happening in our environment. Are we compliant? We have the latest firmware, have the latest definitions, engines. We can click also on it. So we can see that we're 100% of the security content and exploit prevention content, but in the software status, we are not. So I will just show how this looks. And if we maybe go to the Trellix agent, we can see that if I click on the green icon, it will be show me the endpoints that have the latest agent installed. And if I click on the yellow icon, these are the endpoints that doesn't have the latest. We can, of course, click and then do our patching as necessary. But here we can have like a quick glance of what is actually going on in our environment. Also the same with the device management. So if there are any devices that didn't actually tune in, are any devices without protection, are actually how many managed devices we have. This is a testing environment. It's a quite small environment. So at the moment, there's only a few endpoints. Also, if we look to the top, we also see there are 24 devices altogether and actually 3 escalations. Device will actually get escalated if it will have more than 5 events in the last 24 hours. So I have that devices escalated for quite some time, so just for demo purposes. So we can see if there was something happening, there was more than 5 events, could be malware, could be something else. We will get escalations and then we can immediately pivot to that device because for sure we actually know that there is something happening on that device, and we can pivot from all devices and just for the escalated devices. So this is like the first thing is okay to start with. So just get when somebody wants to do something with the platform to get the high level overview. The second thing are actually the dashboards. It's quite important. Here we can visualize a lot more, of course. There is a lot of dashboards, and as you will install additional software, of course, you will get additional dashboards. Some of those protruding to DLP, some of them are endpoint security, some of them are regarding the encryption, and just some of them are really general, so to speak. We can, for example, go to the EPO summary dashboard, and we can see what is the status of our repository. So our repository is what we actually already pulled from the Trellix side, so we can see that our if our DATs are correct, Anchor, those are engines, those are virus definitions, and stuff like that, we can see is actually what is available and what is in my repository. So we can see that we are compliant at all at this moment, and the last main repository full when it was done. Also, we can see the high-level overview of, let's say, how many machines do we have? We will show organization next, but just to give you a quick recap of how many machines we have and in which folder, what was the malware detection history, and also we can search for the actually for the machines and from a number of different search parameters. So this is like a quick summary. Also, there is a lot of, we can go to maybe endpoint compliance status, a lot more information. Worth mentioning, these dashboards are predefined and cannot be customized, but of course, we can duplicate them, we can make them as new, and we can visualize all the data that we want in the one single pane. We want, but a lot of them come predefined, so maybe just want to change something little, then actually it's best that we start with some template and maybe fiddle from there what we want to see actually in the and as I said, there is a lot of it, so we can maybe go to the threat events, also see different. So we can see all of the events actually that were seen. There were some testing done on that platform, so we'll see a variety of different events, sort by the description, how many events regarding the group was it, and the graph. So the next important piece, of course, queries and reports. We can do, because all of this data that you see in this platform, actually it's been stored in a database. So with queries, you can query those database. There is quite a lot of queries. We can, of course, won't go to all of them, but if we need something special, there are also predefined groups. Maybe if we just focus on, I don't know, endpoint security, we can run a query against it, and then we will see the data. The similar with reports. These are actually, some of them are available out of the box, but of course we can always do a new report, as this is fully customizable with the image, with tables, what we can see. So the customer wants a report, and we can extract something that can easily be shared as the PDF. This is the way to go. So to manage the endpoint, as I mentioned before, that we had different machines in different levels, there is a system tree. So this is actually how we can organize our systems. There's of course on top, it's my organizations. This is something maybe worth mentioning. So there is also one software available inside that comes actually with the endpoint security, and that is rogue system detection. So we can push the software to some device and detect devices that are actually in our environment. I will show that in the subnet that we defined. So we can see that from the managed side, because now I'm actually in the rogue system, they're all now managed. But if I go to my organization and go to all the groups and subgroups, we can quickly see that actually we have some managed devices, of course. Unmanaged devices are those devices that actually were seen by the system, but they currently doesn't have the Trellix agent installed on it. So, but we have the IP, we can push the agent in different, we will actually talk about the agent deployment soon. Just first to maybe go back to the organization. So these are the rogue systems, and here I have in our test environment, there is one domain controller, there is that machine that is an EPO, and there are some workstations, one Linux workstation and one Windows workstation actually in this. But if I go to the folder above, we can see there are some more. So we can be very specific with this if maybe we want to do like a like separated by the region or maybe by the functionality or maybe what the operating system. This is actually quite possible. And we will show next how actually we can then push policies, so how the products are actually working, because e-policy orchestrator, it deals, it's the key is in the name, it's dealing with policies, and with those policies actually we influence how the products when we installed are actually working. So here we can see what policies are assigned. Maybe I should just go to the let's see, maybe these policies, we have two policies that are actually assigned to those systems that are being in decryption, being only one. And if there are any client tasks, so maybe I will go back to this, what are client tasks, what are policies. Maybe it's best to first actually show how we can manage this, but also if we want to sort this in a different way, I will just mention that here we can do it. So we can actually organize this in any way we want, but if we want to give it some sorting criteria, so we want to maybe use some subnet, maybe want to use, so we can also apply tags to the systems, maybe sorted by tags. Or if we want to set, we can actually incorporate our LDAP or Active Directory solution in it also. So we can mirror that as we would see in actual our Active Directory. So if we have a nice structure there, we can mirror the structure and there we will have systems actually sorted in the way we want. So about agent deployment, as I said before, we can actually create a deployment URL that can then be shared, or we can generate a file and actually distribute this file to the systems, and then the machine will actually, I can show how will this look. This is a managed machine. So if we go to the machine, actually we can see all of the usual things. So the agent will pull, here we can see the high overview, we will see the threat events, and also the things that are actually, so what is the domain name, which processor is in it. This is a virtual machine, so we can see what the last boot was, which products are installed, the OS type. There is a lot of things that actually agent will give us working with the machine. So also we can see that I will talk a little more about the Excel status, but maybe just to mention that here, this is actually a protocol that enables bidirectional communications between the machines. So the machines can talk to endpoint, can talk to endpoint, and endpoint can talk to brokers. And with that also, those traces that the EDR is using are also sent to the cloud. It's a really nice protocol. We can use it to actually to get new policies, to get new updates, to get new information quickly shared from endpoint to endpoint in our environment. So we can see which products are installed for those that are actually familiar with ENS classic. So we have threat prevention, we have adaptive threat protection and all firewall and web control and all the other usual stuff. But also we can see that now we have installed Trellix EDR with forensics. So this is the shared, so to say, tool that we push then to the agent. We will show how, we will give an example how we can do it, but it's basically just in the matter of installing an agent and then creating a task, and then through that task we can push the products actually onto the agent, and then we manage it through the policies. Is basically like that. So this is the policies that are applied currently. We will just I will talk about it more in a second. Which client tasks are actually applied. If we want to actually run some malware scan on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, we schedule that with client task. Here we can see which threat events were actually on the machine itself. We can see that we saw before that we had that in a general idea, our environment. We can go here and quickly find out what was done in the separate machine. And also we can see the communication port and the actual time that agent will communicate with the EPO. This is actually customizable by default it's 60 minutes, so 1 hour. And as I stated before, this is actually the policies. Then once we deployed the products through the agent on the endpoint, this is what we can use to actually configure the solution on the endpoint, and it's broken down by different categories. Of course, most of you, I think, will be already familiar. There is a different actual components of the ENS endpoint security itself. There is basically 4 main components. There is a threat prevention, which will give you access to the, let me put it as the basic antivirus protection. There is adaptive threat protection that mainly deals with processes. And there is also firewall, host-based firewall, and web control if you want to control what's going on when someone user is visiting the web, which sites will be allowed, which will not be allowed. But the newest addition, so to say, is this one. It's Trellix EDR with forensics. It also will get its own actual set of policies. So from that 6 policies, we can now actually configure the M products and the F side products. We can maybe just go through the quickly to see some of actually the newest additions and some of the more important. So here with already with the general, we can see Trellix EDR with the cloud. This is actually the M side of the products, and here we can enable EDR module or disable it. So if we maybe just want to use the products actually on-prem, to use the HX, we can disable this. So it's really easy to do, even if we have the whole SKU. Actually, it's quite easy to manage it if you don't want to use it for some reason at that point. Also, it is quite bit because there is another product, it's HX inside. It's quite easy to add the server. Here I only have one. I can show you maybe just quickly how it's easiest to get that sorted. Maybe if we go to the settings, we just see it's a matter of just adding the IP and key, and this is all we need to do. Actually, after the extensions are installed, so we can just connect the appliance with the EPO, and now the communication is possible. Of course, some additional extensions will be needed. I will talk about it a little later. Maybe just go quickly through those policies. So what can we expect? So this is coming from the F side of the products, and we have also a little exclamation mark saying that if we have ENS active, so that the antivirus part, to put it that way, from the HX will be disabled. So it will be only one active. So if there is a problem, we don't get any conflicting actually workings of the products. And just to go back maybe to the streaming, this primarily deals with the M side of the product, so that we want to enable trace. We will see that in the EDR. We want to set those traces to the cloud. What we want to maybe do a deep inspection with API calls. What is the actual maximum size of trace files and stuff like this. We want to do some inclusions. And also if we want to stream alerts or indicators of compromise from the HX to the cloud, it's also possible. So now the both products are actually connected. It is possible to also stream the alerts and indicators of compromise directly to the EPO. We will show that. So maybe to go also to the detections, we will go there quickly. So if you want to enable real-time indicator detections, which will be those types of events that will be captured, this can be configured here. Also through the investigation. So then we can enable process history. We want to collect the processes. This is all the things that were already available for those who are already familiar with the M side of the products from the EDR, can be now actually configured here. So we can manage, so to say, both products with a single pane of glass. We don't have to go, although they are 2 separate products. the management is being done by the EPO console, and actually it will stay as the master console, as the most used console. So to maybe move to the my repository, this is everything that actually we pulled, all our packages. There are different packages types, so we can have what we have installed. So these are the things that we can deploy to the endpoints, what we have actually installed. We can also see there is a TIE. We will talk about TIE shortly. This is our actually local platform for threat intelligence, for reputation of the files. And we also see that we have our endpoint solution, EDR solution, and we can deploy this via the agent. So how can we then check in the packages? Because EPO is a really modular tool, so we can do it in the two ways. So we can just go to our repository with our grant number that we get from Trellix, and we can just download the packages and just check in the packages. This is a manual way, or we can just go to the software catalog, and here is everything that with our license key we will see was granted to us. And maybe worth mentioning, because I didn't mention before, how actually EPO works. There are main two types, let's to say. One of them are packages. This is actually the software that's being deployed via agent to the endpoints. And the other things we can see here are actually extensions. So extensions are functionality. So if we want to manage the product via the EPO, and we maybe, if I open here, we will have maybe data protection. If you are using data protection, you will get additional information, you will get additional menus. So each product actually will give you some additional, like it was before with those dashboards, you will get additional functionality depending on what product are you using, because this EPO is actually is used to manage all of those products that were actually presented before on the slides. So we can use it actually. It will depends what software will you use, and also maybe now to see some. Maybe we can now jump to the insights. I will show you. As currently stands, I am actually logged in as a local user. So I'm using admin, but we can use that if we want to use, because Insights, as I said before, this is actually a threat intelligence platform. This is cloud only. So to actually access it, because we will see it is actually tied to our environment. We will need to use a different method. So if you're using one of the SaaS products, you will need, because this is an on-prem EPO, you will have to then use your SaaS account. So to actually connect it, I will just log in now with my credentials, and this can be configured. We will not talk about too much of configuration today, but it's really easy to connect your on-prem EPO with the SaaS instance, and we can get additional functionality out of that. It will look of course the same, but if we just see now, I'm logged as a different user, and because I'm now logged to my SaaS tenant, I actually have now the Trellix Insights option that I didn't have before, and maybe we will just jump to that platform and see what we can do. So Trellix Insights actually a threat intelligence platform that Trellix is using, but the Trellix actually built a GUI around it. So we can query this platform for many different things. The first thing that we will look is our security posture score. This is actually tied because it's tied to my EPO. We can see how the score is being calculated, and the platform itself will actually give us recommendations. So if someone is relatively new to the field, actually, so wait to load it. maybe it's not so accustomed to working. So maybe we could just go to the content section. It will get us, and can immediately see that the content is not updated on one of the machines. So we can, of course, actions and show devices, or maybe we can just click it here. And this is the machine that actually, we can see the tags, we can see what's operating system, and we can see the AM core. It's not updated. So we can just investigate further. So we can see there are no events of the machine. This is actually my local machine that's running on my computer as a virtual machine, so it's turned off at the moment. But we can see what was the problem. So on-demand scan had some recommendations that will be really good to execute, and also the M-core is not it's not updated. So you can see the platform will give you a lot of information, hands-on information, what you can actually do. So to which part of the e-policy orchestrator you need to go. Maybe we can see there is a problem with on-demand scan, and we can see the number of the machines and what is not actually turned on. I left that like that on purpose so we get a detection, but it's quite easy actually to do some type of best practice. So the system will actually allow us, and here we also have instructions how to do it. So you don't have to go to all the policies. There are quite a lot actually. So, but with this we are getting help, so we can then modify it and then put on configurations as Trellix recommends. So actually we're getting, I think, in my opinion, quite a value from this because it's like a guidance how to configure the things properly, and it will point us in the right direction. Also, because this is a threat intelligence platform, we can see how many campaigns actually Trellix is following. It's almost 5,000. So we can go to the campaigns, and we can actually, I have it set the default to follow the technology sector in Slovenia, but we can change that, maybe go to the banking, and let's put it, I don't know, Austria. And it will change actually. Yeah.
Just hold on a second. We have a question which I think I didn't understand exactly the request. So if the person who asked, because it's anonymous, can explain exactly what was the question, or maybe you can take a look and see. I didn't get the tracing some suspicion is real protest sending human.
I also don't think Okay, Paula, you raised the hand.
If you can, the person who actually asked if can talk.
Yeah, Paula, go ahead.
Sorry, I
Paula, you're very quiet.
You see view more options. You see on the inside field. You can expand that, and you can find the field for suspicious correlation. You have that inside. And my question is, how is telemetry filled with that suspicious correlation? What kind of event they process in that field, and what's the source of that? It's a real protect or the GTR or all telemetry?
So here in insights, if you are talking about things
you can go on that field view more, just click and I can show you.
To go back to the security posture.
You see the field tab view more. You view more.
Okay, here you mean here.
So, sorry, on the threads. First you click on the threads.
Threads, yeah.
And view more, click. You don't have that field. We have that field, the suspicious correlation field, and inside you can find the more advanced lookage of the attack. And basically, question is who I can send you a picture, maybe it's easy.
Yeah, maybe it's easier. Yeah, please.
Maybe if you will find an answer, Mihai.
Yeah, I would suggest maybe to, because I think this is more of a deep dive thing already, that we take this offline and resolve
Yeah.
it separately.
You can send the picture and I can check on my environment also. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So to get back, the Trellix is actually following the campaigns, as I said before. Now we just change it, the point of view, to actually go to see what's going on in the banking financial sector in Austria, and we can then sort this by the prevalence in Austria, or maybe prevalence in banking financial sector. And we can see then how the campaign is actually, in quotes, doing. So we can see the worldwide is 2K devices found per 1 million. In Austria is 109, and the bank financial sector 477. We can also get a lot of, if we have a specific, so we were briefed that, I don't know, this APT group or something is attacking this financial sector, or maybe some other sector, we can get a lot more information about the players who are involved, and also we can get indicators of compromise, so we can see immediately where the file hashes, if there's some URLs involved, if there are some IP addresses here we don't have any. And what is also important, we have countermeasures available. So this is like, how can we protect ourselves better in our environment? Those are actually active and passive. And here we can see that we have one active and two passive. And we can select those actions, and it's explain us what it needs to be done. And also it will give us actual guidance to how to do it. So these are not specifically tied to actually to Trellix products, but they can be just the general things that we can maybe do on our operating system and similar things. So it's not basically tied to our endpoint security. It's tied so we can generally prepare ourselves better for the upcoming, if we are maybe concerned about some type of malware or some APT group hitting us. So we can also browse for different threats. We can see some of them were found in our environment. Of course, this is testing environment, so it will have some detections. We can browse that from different threat group profiles and actually see different CVEs. If some of them requiring attention, these are tied to our specific environment. Others are prioritized by Trellix research. So we can really, this is like a threat intelligence, not just given us for the threat intelligence itself, so to say. It's actually applied to our environment. So we can get with some guidance how we can use it and what things we need to actually configure to be properly protected and actually to be protected more. So I will now just go back to our EPO instance, and the next thing we will actually mention is the TIE server. So the TIE server, it's basically a virtual machine that will took care of our reputations. So I did some testing already today, but maybe if we just look for the, I don't know, last 30 days, we can see these are actually the files that processes the executable files, so to say, that were actually seen in our environment. The TIE doesn't deal with things like pictures or MP3s or stuff. It will deal only with executable files and then the processes. So this is actually our enterprise reputation. So we can get this source for different, as you can see, from different reputation sources. We have our local reputations that is being done on our endpoints. We have a certificate reputation, GTI, which is Global Threat Intelligence. It's cloud intelligence used by Trellix. And we can have also sandbox integration. So albeit being by cloud or actually being as a local sandboxing, local sandbox integration. And we can also, if we have secure web gateway, we can, I don't have it currently here, but it can be integrated with this. And we can already see some composite reputation done on some files, which are known trusted. The source was GTI. This was most likely trusted. The source was locus laters. And there are also two of them that we can show how this is actually working. That I set the reputation to be known malicious, and the files were clean. So maybe if we just go to test some file that is unknown to TIE and unknown to GTI, the easiest way is just to do a text document, and I will just name it Trellix ENS test file, and we will put some text in it. So it shouldn't be an empty. Okay, save it. And now we will put this on the archive. Can do this. And this will be a self-extracting archive, which actually is a file that will already include all the necessary things so we can extract it. We don't need additional software, but because of that, it will be an exe file, and it will be an exe file that is unknown to TIE and GTI. So I will just run it, and we should get. Maybe before we do that, I should mention that a part of Trellix endpoint security is also a dynamic application containment, which will run files in a container if they're unknown. I set it into the policy, so all the files that are unknown in our environment, this is actually, of course, not bad practice to use in the company, because if you have some internal resources, some in-house systems that are unknown to TIE or unknown to Trellix GTI, of course, if they're built custom by you, you will get a lot of false positive and a lot of things will be blocked. But I said it like this just to show how this works, and this will run. And in the first, we can see that there's nothing much happening, but actually I think we should get a detection. So we will just, maybe to mention already here, this is the Trellix agent. So from those that are coming from the F side of the products, the agents was a bit more hidden. There was no icon, but with M side of the products, we can actually set a policy from the agent to see the agent. We can see the icon, we can see that's communicating, and we can also see what is installed actually on the agent. Is the agent itself, data exchange layer, this bidirectional communication is actually coming. When we install an agent, is already included, and I also have a couple of other things, among them Trellix EDR with forensic and of course endpoint security. And we will now open this endpoint security console. So it looks like this. If the customer or the user of the actual machine will want to go and see what is going on, what is actually enabled, which modules are enabled, the platform is look like this. And what we are now checking is if we got any events. And immediately we can see that was on execute scan. So this, our Trellix ENS test file was run in a container because its reputation unknown, because of course it was not known to TIE or because we just made it up, and it was contained. And then we got the last that it would block. And also when we do those dynamic containing of the files, we have a set of rules that we can actually use to see, and I will show that how to do it in the policies, it's violating the user's data folder. So everything, this is actually being, the settings are being actually pulled from those catalogs. I will show that, and then we will return to the tie. So I will show how can we actually make that file malicious. So if we come to the active threat protection, I can show where are those settings that I used. So we are actually have that enabled, and we are not in observe mode. As I mentioned before, observe mode is quite useful if you're tuning the environment, because if there are a lot of unknown things in your environment or out of custom in-house applications, that can be a problem. So here we can see that I actually trigger this dynamic application containment when the threshold reaches the unknown, which was then triggered. And then if I go back to the dynamic application containment, this policy is actually a two-piece policy. So here we can see that I am using the balanced one. Trellix will always give you in different scenarios and different products some starting policies, some best practice policies, but of course you can tune this. I'm using just a standard one, and we can see that modifying users data folders was set to report, and it was not set to block. So the file was allowed, but how can okay, I will just go back to the tie. And now if we go for the last day, there is our Trellix ENS test file that we have. So the file, of course, is unknown, and we can just select the file and make this. We can, if we want, make file known malicious. We will do that now. We won't have. So it's now at an enterprise, it's known malicious. So the file is already still running. I think it's not. We will just then we got a detection because the file was still running. So we now said the file is malicious. So immediately, because our policy is set to clean the file, were immediately cleaned. It was sent to the quarantine. So this is how we can use TIE actually to enforce policies, to have some specter of what can be run in our environment. And so it's quite easy to do. We can manage and this will happen with all the runnable files, all the files that will give us some process. And now we will jump actually to the EDR part of it. This will be on the M side. I will use for this presentation not my environment. I will use Trellix testing environment. So we will have more detections there, and we could see more alerts because it is a fuller platform. And this is actually worth mentioning here. If you're using on the cloud model, the SaaS model, this is actually the X console that you will see. I will show how to then move between the products also there, but you will be greeted with this screen, so you can already select what you need to go, what you want to go. We will go with the Trellix EDR. Just wait to load. And immediately we are greeted with this first monitoring screen. So this is from the M side of the products. It's a cloud only solution. When immediately when we access it, we are actually greeted with the monitoring where we can see what happened. What happened actually in the past 3 days. We can maybe go select this for the past 30 days. This is a shared platform. A lot of the there will be a lot of events, but I will just pick one. Maybe if we go to some, let's say total, we can select just by those high events, medium events, or low events. And maybe we will select this cute puppy, so we can see what the initial trigger was when it was first detected. It was a trace detection. We can see the process attribute. We can immediately see the machine and information about the machine. So all the containment and things like that will actually now be done from this platform. So we can, if we select the device, we can stop the process, quarantine the device, and things like that. And what we can see about that is actually, this is the MITRE attack matrix, and we can just, I will maybe show the bottom part first. So this is we can see what the detection is all about, so to say. So there was an Explorer process running this cute puppy jpeg.exe file. Of course, we all know that this is probably not a cute puppy picture. So this was actually, it executed a command line which executed reg.exe, which was actually some registry keys were modified, and then in the last it was PowerShell was run, and with, I think if we look, it connected somewhere and download some script. So the user was actually Monica malware, and we can see the full line of the process. This is just actually a summary view, and we can also see that in quite a few different views. This is a sequential view, so we can see exactly in what sequence actually the process was executed. And we can have also the time view. So this executed quite quickly. So we can see it was a matter of seconds that was done. And we can have the maybe just real broad everything explained in a table with if you want more details, of course. So we can also, as mentioned before, have that MITRE matrix where we can click, maybe just to go to that technique. And on the bottom, we can immediately see where those, if we could maybe go back to this one, it will highlight for us where those techniques were used. And also, as I mentioned at the start of the webinar, we are actually, this is now actually integrated with Wise. So I think this particular entry is not so hard to decode, but still, if we look just to maybe go back, we still need to have some knowledge to decode those commands. What is that doing? What was that doing? So I will say it took us some time to actually find out, but we can ask Wise. So we can use threat intelligence, and we will now use it in the interactive mode. And immediately we are given the key points. So in plain English, so we get a summary of the event. What are some of the key points about the processes being run? We can see that also, perhaps if we look here, this executable span process, the file names appears to be attempt to masquerading an innocent image file, because I think PDF was in the name. The AI knows that they actually tried to masquerade, and we can maybe be satisfied with that, or maybe we can just click to provide us with more details. And we get even more details, and it will give us suggestions. And as I said before, there is also a possibility to create a knowledge graph. So we can see, maybe just turn it off, we can see actually what happened in a sequential view in a graph. So I think this is really helpful to help us to go through the alerts faster and to leverage threat intelligence in that regard. And the other mode is in the dossier mode. So we can triage the alert, and here we are given like on one paper what are actually the findings, bullet points, what is the summary. So if we need to craft an email to alert someone actually in the company, we have we don't have anything. And also it gives us suggestion actions to what we can do next. So this is actually quite helpful. And maybe to show some other capabilities, this is just the front screen. Also, because this is monitoring the environment constantly, we can do a real-time search. So if we can maybe go to that panel. And here we can type our inner search or maybe use one of the safe searches. We can see because it's a shared platform, there's going to be quite a lot, but maybe just to do some simple one, we will try to see all the hosts with the host names, IP addresses, and OSs and maybe connection statuses. The platform will give you suggestions, so it's quite easy to use. And now we will just wait, and he will try to reach the endpoints and give us the information. And we can see actually quite easily all the endpoints that are actually now online. And now we could take, I don't know, let's take this one. Let's copy it and maybe go see what we can do. Also a device search. And if you have a device name, we can see a lot of more data regarding that device. So it's here. So we can see all the processes we are currently looking for the last 4 hours. We can see the processes running. We can see the network connections. We can see the API calls. And last but not least, we can see if there were some alerts, some detections, or there was some endpoint protection activity, or there were any scanned events. So this we can go, of course, back in time to get even more data. So we're getting quite a few more results, and we can see that there are detections and alerts that were associated with this particular endpoint. And we can quickly see what those alerts are. Actually, those are separate alerts. We can turn on the alerting if we want. So we are just here for the last 4 hours. Let's start 30 days. So we can see that there is a lot of alerts actually. So this is separate alerts. And then the platform will actually correlate those alerts and group them. And this is where we are actually getting to the monitoring part, where something is serious enough to put it like that to actually to give us this is for past 3 days now, give us the high or medium or low. It's actually a compound alert. So the other thing we can do is go to the investigation, which is also, I will just use one of the investigation that is already in the platform. Maybe it should use this one that's in the progress, or I'll use this one. Somebody did some testing, and we can see all the actual usual stuff that when it was created, and when it was added, who it was added to by. And we can see in this particular investigation, there was 1,500 artifacts, 433 of them were key artifacts, and only 12 key findings. And which can this be helpful is that if we go to the actual investigation guides, the platform will give us questions, and these are actually answered questions, so we can see if the process opening the socket is expected to do so, and we can click on it, and we will get the information. This endpoint contain processes running from a suspicious directories, and we can see what processes are those quite easily. So if we need to have some starting point to do some investigations, this is actually a really good place to start. So we can have some idea to actually give us a starting point, and maybe we are stuck, we can give us some new ideas what we should be actually looking for. And the last but not least is those real-time search. Sorry, historical search. This shows where we can actually hunt for what was in our environment. So it's possible to do with the EDR query language. This is, we can also get suggestions what we can actually present, what we actually need to find or want to find, or we can use twice. But we are here are examples actually what we can type in, but I could just tell him to show me all the machines that start with win. And it will generate a query. Okay. All the PCs, let's try to see start. Okay. Okay. We can run this query. We can see what the generated query was. So actually, we can see those machines are on to the right. So now with the inclusion of the actual AI, we can just use our natural language to write, and we can get to the things quite faster. And now for the last part of the presentation, this will be also, I will show the HX, which is the forensic part. So for that, we will have to move back to that. So, and those actually coming from the F side of the products will be familiar, but this is actually now being used as the forensic piece of the tool. So for those actually working with F products, quite a familiar platform. And I have some alerts that are generated. Most of them are actually the test alert, but now we are dealing here with two platforms. So as I stated before, we have now modules. Those two actually platforms are connected, and we have, I will show you the module, which is actually forensics bridge, which in turns we can now see those alerts that are being generated here also in the EPO. So if we want to just check what the alert is, we can do it from there. I will show you how we actually can see them here. So if we go to the threat event log, we will just filter this, but the last, filter level 7 days. And actually, we can see all the threat events that were ever actually in our test environment. And we can also see, we will just try to find some of them that was generated from the HX itself. So we can here immediately see we have an EOC match. And if we look closer, the product is actually, this is deprecated, but we can see from the name it's coming from the X client. And it's actually giving us the information regarding all the details that we can see on that platform are not actually being transferred to the EPO. So if we want to see what the threat events are, we don't have to swing between two platforms. So everything that all the alerts or the EOCs and things like that are now streamed to the EPO. So if we just want to do with one single pane of glass, this is actually now possible, but still, if we want to do some thorough investigation, if we want to see some acquisitions, these are actually still done by the HX controller itself. So if we want to grab that triage packet and process those data, we still have to do it in this platform. But now more and more the EPO will be used. So I think also this functionality will be quite fast to be actually imported in the EPO itself. So as stated before, this is now the platform that will be managing everything. And I think if I am correct, the HX will actually go headless in the future. So it will still be functioning in the backend, but actually all the job, all of the work, so to say, will be done in this platform.
Yeah, I can say a couple of words here.
Yeah.
So indeed, the roadmap is to turn HX headless, so there will be no GUI anymore attached to the machine. The virtual machine or the physical machine will still be in place, doing the hard work in the backend. But from the user interface point of view, indeed, everything will be migrated to the EDR console, and you'll be probably happy when this EDR console will also be brought on-prem, which is scheduled somewhere in the second half of this year. And the look and feel will be similar with the current Helix Connect, actually. So that will be the web interface used for the on-prem EDR. And from there, you'll have all the actions that are now available in HX. So nothing will be missed. Okay.
Thank you, Mihai. So I think with this, this is actually everything from my side. Are there any questions? I didn't check the Q&A.
There were questions. Hopefully the answers were fine enough.
Yeah. I also saw one raised hand from Alexander. I will just allow him to talk. Yeah. Go ahead, Alexander.
Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. I was
Hello.
following the presentation. One question maybe is not very technical. I mean, it's not technical at all. How about the compatibility and supporting the, let's say, older operating system like Windows 7, Windows 8? The question is in the direction that here in Macedonia, on a local market, we have lots of government institutions that still have some portion of this operating systems, and I'm not sure that they can be migrated very, very easily. So any directions, what we can do with Trellix in that on this topic?
Well, it depends on the product that you are choosing. The problem with the products they are end of support usually. The only, let's say, the only solution that might get some extended support, I think it's application control. For the rest, not sure, honestly.
No, actually, currently on the market, it is not a problem, particularly on Trellix, but majority of the endpoint solution does not support legacy operating systems. But the fact is that they are present, and some of the, let's say, products like Panda, Kaspersky, they still somehow manage to provide endpoint protection in their full range, of course, with some compatibility licenses, not with the regular one, but they still manage maybe for the following year or two. So the question is, if there is such an opportunity where we have, let's say, 2,300 licenses, and let's say 50, 60 of them are Windows 7, Windows 8, which are not, maybe they are subject to migration, but still are not migrated. Is there any solution for such a situation?
We have some kind of a program which is named exactly this extended support, if I remember well, where we can apply different requests, specific requests. Now, of course, it depends on how many requests are and the size of the customers.
Okay, I mean, it's not necessary to have the answer immediately, but this is something which is, let's say, going on, let's say, in the past 2 years. It will follow for the probably all year 2025. So it is better to be ready if such an opportunity emerges, just to know how to react, whether we can do something or no. Anyway, with some compatibility license and so on, but it is good to have, let's say, knowledge on this topic. Because as I mentioned, some of the vendors, obviously they have something, and in such a situation, they can use this opportunity.
Yeah, indeed. Well, you know, we still have the old products. I mean, you can still use them in case it's a old environment. I mean, it's a mix. So basically, if let's take, for example, the customer has, I don't know, 1,000 computers, from which 100 are old, the rest are fine. Yeah, he can buy endpoint security, for example, the bundle, and install the latest version on 900 and use an older version on those 100. The main issue might come in case of some technical bugs or things like
Yeah,
this.
okay. I mean, I'm following you. So actually, for it can be a like a mixed environment, partially to be on the latest version, and old OS to be covered with, let's say, the previous versions.
Yeah.
But technically, it is possible.
Technically, it's possible, of course. Yeah, and they are eligible to download the old versions. It's fine. It's just a problem in case. I mean, the main issue is if they have a problem with those systems, and when the support guy will connect and retrieve
because
yeah.
Miha, they are not in a very favorable situation. Not too many vendors are supporting legacy OS.
Yeah.
So actually, they are
Okay.
not in a position to choose. That's why I'm asking this. So when the opportunity arises, it is good to have in mind that, let's say, Trellix as a, let's say, top of the line brand, and can, let's say, jump in and to close the deal.
I see. I see. Here, honestly, I would see an opportunity for application control, as I said, which even if indeed we try to get rid of the old systems, I mean, the product itself can, even with the previous versions, can do a very good job and protect those endpoints, because that's actually, this is the main issue. You'll have that old endpoint security product installed, but it might not get the job done. But with
Because
application
I
control,
was trying to find something similar on the portal about some latest versions, because I wasn't able to clarify. So it is good to, let's say, share additional information, either with Real Security, with Damian, with
Yeah, we can
David.
give you those information, Alexander, no problem. But it will largely depend also on the product.
Okay, but it is good to know which products, let's say, can be downgraded and what kind of protection they can provide, just to know that those facts. So it is just a hypothetical question, but I'm more than sure that such an opportunities will arise in the current year.
Yeah, we can supply with the information regarding which, let's say, on which systems the agent is still supported, on which is endpoint security.
It will be very useful, because we are following the other products, and majority of them have announced that after, let's say, end of March, all the legacy OS will not be supported anymore. Most of them. So we are trying to find who can.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we live in, let's say, market sensitive environment, and maybe in the EU and, let's say, more rich countries, everything is updated to, let's say, Windows 11, but here it's not the case.
Yeah, I think it is the problem also, as Mihai stated, we can supply the documents, but there is still, as Mihai stated, I'm sure Trellix does have those software still, but how it will be getting it, because I don't think I don't know how far you can actually download the.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's see. Of course, nobody will take any action without making a double check on everything.
Yeah,
But just to start from somewhere.
I agree.
Yeah.
You can
Okay,
supply the
thanks.
documents to see how far back we Trellix
Okay,
is
yes.
currently standing, and we can go from here if
Thanks. That
is
was from
needed.
my side.
Okay, thank you very much.